Hey everyone, it's Brian Porter. We're back with episode 2 of our guitar build walkthrough. We are going to be building one of our Bois models, semi-hollow. If you missed episode 1, we talked a little bit about the design and kind of the setup of what we're going to do with the guitar. We have a little better idea of how we're going to do it. We've also purchased the woods for this build, so let's go look at those woods right now and we'll talk a little bit about our next steps for the process of getting the bodies ready to be cut. Okay, so we're over here with the woods for the build. You've got this spalted maple top that you saw in the first video. It's actually been thicknessed down. And we've got it just about joined up, ready for the book match. We're going to talk about laying out where we want the body to be today as well, and go through the glue up. And for the neck, we've chosen sapele. This is a wide piece of ribbon striped sapele. It's just a 1/4 sawn piece. We're going to cut it down the middle to make 2 neck blanks out of this. We'll save one for another project, and we will get this one ready for this specific build. We're also going to do 1/4 sawn sapele for the back of the guitar as well. So that's going to be a really nice piece of wood. This is lengthwise. We're going to cut this in half and join it up here after doing planing and thicknessing according to the overall thickness. So we've got this already down to 1/4 inch. We're going to go with 1.5 inches here. We're going to glue it up, and then we'll go to the chambering. But let's go through the process of getting the wood all planed down. Okay, so we're over here after we finished the planing. We got the neck all planed down. Check out the nice ribbon stripes there. You can see the stripes definitely starting to show up a little bit more. The body is also planed down. We're going to go with 1.5 inches thickness on this body, and then we're going to chamber it after it gets glued up. So from here, now we're going to go over and joint the edges on the body, and then we will cut it in half and try to get it all glued up as well. So let's go over and show you the joining process. Basically what we're doing with the process is trying to make sure we have a nice tight joint there, make sure it's all really good. It's going to fit together very true before it is glued together. We went ahead and did the cut step, and we'll show you that here. But basically after we join the edges, we're just trying to figure out if we can look at each edge and figure out if the body might look better, you know, with this edge or that edge, and we actually join both of the outsides as well. So we can kind of match this according to maybe the grain patterns that we're looking for on the individual piece. So looking for something that fits together the best, or just that looks right as far as grain patterns go. So we'll choose that, and then we'll head over to the station. We'll get this one glued up, and then we'll continue with the build. All right, so we're over here at the glue bench. We've got our clamp set out. We've got our glue here for the body. We've got a piece of wax paper to prevent the glue from hitting the clamps. Hopefully you can see that there on the camera. Yeah, we got that in the picture. So we'll lay that down first. We've got our sides marked where we want to glue it. We're basically just going to do almost like another dry fit with this thing too. We just want to make sure it's going to handle the clamping pressure pretty well. We're going to make sure that it is exactly the way we want it to be set up here on the glue joint. So that looks like it'll be great there. So we're going to use just a simple leftover piece of pickguard material as kind of a glue spreader. We're going to make sure again that the glue is not going to contact the clamps, and then we will get it all glued up here. So we'll show you that process. Okay, so we got this where we want it. Just did another quick dry fit to make sure that it was how we wanted it. We want to make sure that, like, on our end grains are matching well, as We want a nice looking joint across the board. We want it to look good on the end of the guitar when a customer gets it. So now let's go ahead and put some glue on this and we'll get it all clamped down. All right, so as we're waiting for that body to dry and to get cut, we're gonna start thinking about what to do with our top wood here. We've got this really killer piece of spalted maple. Let me grab the camera and just kind of show you all the good grains that are going on in there. We've got that thickness for our top piece. And one of the things we like to do is try to plan out where we're going to put the guitar on a piece. We'll usually pick out pieces that are way more oversized than the actual guitar body, just to allow us some flexibility to adjust. We have some really neat grain things going on down on this end. You can see. We've also got some really cool flame patterns. It's catching up in the camera on this side here. You can see there, it's gonna be a book match, but all of these little spalted lines are gonna match all the way down the guitar. And we do want to touch on a little bit of this white wood that's on the outside here as well. So we have just our regular body template. So we've got our Les Bois template with 2 humbuckers. And oftentimes people will use a clear plexiglass kind of template so you can see the grains through there. A lot of acoustic builders do that. We just haven't cut one out yet, so we're just using the standard template. This just allows us kind of a little bit of an idea of where to make this land. The positioning on this top actually is somewhat going to be chosen for us, because up in this area, up here just past the camera screen, we've got a couple chips and a couple, looks like maybe just cracks in the wood or something like that. So we're going to have to stay down towards this area for our shape. But I think that that's definitely the area that we would prefer on this build as well. If you order a guitar from us, we definitely have options within each top to do, forwards, backwards, all sorts of different kind of things. But for now, what we're going to do is just to get a little preview of what it might look like. We're going to take this template and we're just going to make a little mark of the outside of the body. We're just going to just draw it really quickly in Sharpie so you can see it. This is silver Sharpie, so hopefully it shows up on the camera really well. This is also one of the fun parts. We talked about putting a little finish on the body before we actually put real finish on it. This allows us just to see this guitar and what it will look like after it gets cut. So after we remove that, this will show you, I'll bring the camera around here. You can see how nice that's gonna look. Right there, I'll back it up just a little bit so you can see that. Very cool, the humbucker is gonna lie right about in that area. Unfortunately, this will be taken out by the neck pocket, but we've got the F-hole that's going to happen over here somewhere. Very cool little black line that will probably be intersected by the F-hole. The electronics will be in kind of the edge of the spalts over here, and then the bridge will be somewhere in this area. So that'll leave a lot of this book match with the figure and all this crazy line stuff happening all throughout the guitar. Even this little piece here is going to look really nice kind of out on the horn of the build as well. So we're really excited about this placement of this as well. And one thing we'll do is, before we glue this top, we're going to actually hand join it a little bit. It's actually very, very close. It's already been joined and it's already been thicknessed. But we really want the top to fit well, as fairly nice as well, excuse me. And we'll want to put some sandpaper on a flat plane, and we actually hand join a lot of the tops just to make sure they're completely true. Sometimes with spalted maple, areas are a little more unstable than others. Thankfully, this piece is pretty stable across the board, so we're really excited about using it on a build, and we think it's going to turn out pretty cool once we get it all together. So we'll get this top joint And then next step will be gluing up the top. We're not going to show you the top glue up. It's basically the same as the back and glue up, but we're going to be putting some weight on the seam just to make sure the smaller piece of wood doesn't come up. Some people will use vacuum presses. We actually do both of these separate because, again, we have to put the chambers into the body on there. So that'll be glued up. In the next episode, we will talk about now the CNC and the actual cutting out of the different parts. So we'll go through cutting the neck, cutting the fretboard, and then also cutting the chambers in the body like we talked about earlier. So we'll kind of get all the pieces together, and then we'll put them together. The top will get glued on to the blank that has the chambers, and then we'll actually CNC the whole rest of the guitar body out from there. So that's kind of the rough look at the process. And then we'll go ahead and take a final look in this episode of just what we're going to use for the fretboard. Okay, so we're over here in the wood storage area of the shop. We have a lot of Indian ebony. We've been able to find a good source for Indian ebony. All of the stuff we have is actually very dark. It does have, some of it has a little bit of figure and some interesting stuff going on. So for this particular build, we're going to choose the Indian ebony because it's black and it has the kind of the same color as some of the grain lines and the trim line that we're going to do around the body as well. So we think the ebony will help kind of showcase the top even more, match with the top, and then we'll let the back just kind of be its own thing with the sapele as well. So we'll take, most likely take this one here. We've got a couple different options. These are all really rough planes, so we're going to have to do the same process, thicknessing that down. And one thing we should mention too as we get into showing you some of the tooling and the CNC is our CNC is set up to do 2 necks or 2 fretboards at a time. So when you watch the video of these being cut, you will see another neck and another fretboard on that. And those processes do take a little bit of time, so we'll make sure that we speed it up, and we won't show you obviously the whole entire tool path, but we'll talk about a little bit of how each of those processes go. And so next episode will be a lot more building and machining type of stuff, so getting into the real nitty-gritty of building these guitars. Okay, so thanks for watching part 2 of our guitar build. A lot of prep goes into this part of the build. We're getting everything ready to be tooled and machined and all that. So it's definitely not maybe the most exciting part of the build, but all of the tolerances and all of the measurements have to be exactly right because we want to make sure that everything fits correctly. We want to make sure the height of the strings at the end of the day is perfect. And so all of this is very, very crucial. Definitely not super high action TV, but hope you enjoyed this second part of the process, and we're looking forward to showing you the next step, which is a little bit more jumping in and carving out some guitar bodies. So thanks so much for watching.